What is the best way to start in real estate if you do have capital to start? This is another great question I get a lot, is that I do have X amount of money, $50,000, a million, 3 million, whatever the amount you have to start. Let me talk about that a little bit, because most people have very little money to start. But if you have about $50,000 or more to invest in real estate, you can directly start as a real estate investor. And let me talk a little bit about this. Now, there's a spectrum here. You can be a completely passive investor where you're like, hey, I have a day job, I have a great life, I don't really want to do anything on an active basis, but I still want to build wealth. You can invest in a fund like ours, a hyperfast development fund. We'll put a link in the video here. You can look at our webinar. It'll give you all the details. Now, that's a true passive investment where you just give us the money, we do all of the work, we return your money plus the preferred return. There's really no work you have to do. Now, you can consider buying income producing properties, but understand that's not truly passive. Even if you own a few rental homes, it's a great thing to do. You have all these different ways you're going to be making money. You have tax savings. There's so many great advantages of this, but it's still work. You still have to manage the tenants. You still have potential evictions. You have to pay your taxes. You have to make sure the property is safe and functioning properly for your tenants. Now, people will say, oh, you can hire a property manager to do that. True, that'll take some of the burden off. You have to pay that person, obviously, but it's still something you have to manage. It's not a true passive investment. And on the other end of the spectrum, you could be a completely active investor like I am. This is my career. This is what I do every day. I get up, I look for deals, I figure out new business lines, I figure out how we're going to make more and more money in real estate. So it's up to you. But if you have money to invest, I would actually start directly and become a real estate investor. This will start building your wealth over time. And remember, this is a long-term game. You need to have a long-term outlook. This isn't just a way, oh, I'm going to make a bunch of money this year or next year or in a couple years and I'm done with this. Think of this as a long-term way to build wealth that will allow you to have wealth over your lifetime. It can also allow you to transfer that wealth to your children, their children. It's called intergenerational wealth. To me, that's really where you want to go and build this thing that allows your future generations that you'll never even meet to enjoy the benefits of all the hard work that you're going to put in now. The other thing to understand is if you do want to become a real estate investor and you have the capital to start today, is there's generally two ways to think about real estate. In general, there's a lot of different things, but there's two ways. One is a buy and hold strategy where your goal is to have the property produce income. You want it to pay you every month. Imagine buying something and it pays you every month. Where did we ever get that? What was the last car you bought where it just paid you every month, where you walked in the first of the month and there was like $1,000 sitting in the front seat? That doesn't happen. But with real estate, that absolutely can happen. It can become like an ATM machine where it's paying you every month. That's more of a long-term buy and hold strategy. The other strategy is more of a short-term flip strategy where you buy a property, you fix it up, you force the appreciation or force the value up, and all of a sudden you can sell it as a profit. So that's another way where you can get these quick chunks of cash. If you do a small rehab, you can complete it in 90 days or so. Longer rehabs maybe take 6 months. Bigger projects I do, which are considered real estate development, but they're really just big rehabs, maybe take 12, 18, 24 months. So it doesn't really matter the time frame, but it's something you can turn around relatively quickly versus the long-term hold. You're looking to hold this thing 10, 20, maybe even longer, maybe indefinitely. So those are your two general buckets that you want to think about and decide which one makes more sense for you. Now, having said that, within each bucket, there's so many different ways you can do it and different types of projects and things like that, but I just wanted to give you a high-level overview. So if you do have money to start, that's awesome. I'm glad you're in that position. Whatever you did right to get in that position, that's great. But now it's time to invest that money and become a real estate investor and build true wealth. As always, hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of the important videos in this series.